The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today and bet $100, get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host. You know me, you know the voice, you know the guy. It's me, Really Real, Villain Real, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. And we have a loaded cast here on a Friday edition of NBA Gambling Podcast. First, you know, my guy, partner in picks. He's been there. Scott Studio, Rachel. Scott, what's going on?
Doing pretty well. I ended up having a pretty good day yesterday. I know that there was some injury news. Porzingis was ruled out, and we pivoted to Kuzma. I think we mentioned that in the Discord. That worked out pretty well. Had a bunch of points, bunch of rebounds. He had himself a massive game. Besides that, though, lost the lock with Josh Hart. Played a bunch of minutes. I think he played 38 minutes. Just couldn't get 4 assists. But I had Capella, 12-plus rebounds as my dog at plus 210. I believe he had 18 rebounds after 3 quarters, and that was really never in doubt.
He had 19 after 3, yeah.
19 after 3, finished with 20. He had to play a bunch of minutes against Embiid, and he came through. So still a winning day, made over a unit, but still would have been nice to get another sweep.
No, we were good. Yeah, I would have liked a lot too. Fucking Dallas. Dallas is just I don't know.
You got the dog though, so there's that.
Yeah. So I mean, we could go back to the dog, and the dog I don't know, when my dogs appreciate in value, because I just gave out the Atlanta dog, and it was started at plus 140, then it got to 220 because Trey was out. My dog appreciated in value again here because I gave out Portland. Dame was ruled out, and they still got the job done on the money line. I mean, Scott, we're on fire. We're giving out crazy parlays. We're giving out huge dogs. Like, it doesn't matter. You can get everything over here. Third man in the booth, we have my guy, he's still an A&T Aggie. Shout out to my guy, Delonte Smith. What's going on?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Hey, I'm with you on the Portland. I was thinking that Dame was gonna actually play on the back-to-back, and they would get some of those guys back. So I thought 6.5 was kind of short. So I played it, and then I seen it balloon, and I was like, well, I could count this as a loser. But they came out. Jimmy Grant got the job done. The Blazers, I've been on them like all year. The 10-2 against the spread, 8-2 as a dog.
Yes, I've been telling people this Blazers team is legit. This Blazers team's legit.
They're playing really good. Two teams I keep fading, Miami and Charlotte. I mean, I couldn't fade them last night because they played against each other, but just constant money makers. Miami 2-10 ATS, Hornets 3-6-1 ATS. They just bet against them no matter what. They're not good right now.
Yeah, I'm going to let Terrell actually get into that because I know that Terrell was he kind of proclaimed something yesterday if the Heat did not cover the spread.
Yep.
You want the floor? You want to do
that? Yeah, no, I could take it and just go ahead and wrap it up. I mean, it's really quick. We're not betting the Heat anymore as a favorite. We're not betting the Heat as a favorite. Like, it doesn't matter. You are 1-6 as a favorite at home to start the season. Like, no. At this point, they have to show it to me. I already didn't like them as favorites on the road. Now you telling me I can't trust them as favorites at home. We're just not going to bet Heat as a favorite anymore. We're going to get the Heat as a dog, and then that's when we're going to smash and probably take the money line and cash. But this team, when they have expectations from the books, they do not live up to them. It is point blank simple. There's no reason they shouldn't have covered that 10. I don't care if Tyler Hero didn't play.
They were also up double digits after 3. They were terrible in the fourth quarter. They basically blew the game just to win in overtime, but they were in a good spot to win it. Charlotte's on a back-to-back. You figured the fourth quarter is probably the least likely quarter they'd come back from a back-to-back from a double-digit deficit because of fatigue, and instead they no-showed the fourth. But I do kind of want to ask, since the Heat did end up winning, they didn't cover, obviously, in overtime, what exactly is wrong with that team? Because we know Golden State can't guard anybody. We know the young players have not played well. That's a big reason why. The Nets have had distractions. The Lakers are old and they can't shoot threes. There's a lot of obvious flaws with these struggling teams. I really can't figure out why Miami is so bad compared to most years because they're not really injured. They basically have the same core, and Butler's putting up massive 35-point games. They still can't cover. So what exactly is the problem with this team? I feel like the issues are a lot less noticeable with this unit than other superstar teams around the league.
I will say that the issue is we don't know what the issue is.
That's what I'm
we
saying. I don't know.
Like that's the issue, and it's just so funny because like as soon as you said it, I knew where you were going, and I'm like, bro, I can't point it out because Jimmy Butler had almost a 30-point. If didn't he score 30? A 30
I
point.
mentioned triple double. He had 35, 8, and 7. Like
he almost had a 30-point triple double, and they go in there and can't barely win the game, let alone cover the spread. Bam played good as he always plays against Charlotte. You know, he's a North Carolina guy. So I truly don't know what it is. And you can't sit here and tell me that. I mean, I guess you could say that they need more options scoring the ball, but they still put up a decent amount of points. Like it ultimately, I'm going to just go back to what I thought that they needed after the playoffs last year. And after that, game 7 against Boston is I thought that they needed another shot creator. Somebody that could come off the bench and create for themselves, not others, because they play team basketball. And their offense is jaded around getting everybody the best possible shot for that player. Bench. If they needed something, if they just needed somebody to go get a bucket, they needed somebody to come off and do that. And so I was like, somebody small, not somebody huge, somebody small. I think that's still an issue.
You have any thoughts, Delonte? Because I kind of
honestly
brought it up.
I don't. I'm with both of you guys. Like I don't really know. I mean, they're probably the most well-ran organization. I mean, aside from Golden State, they got one of the best coaches in the NBA, and I really don't know what the issue is. I mean, some of the pressure might be on Jimmy. He's doing like so much. Him also with Bam and then Lowry being old and he's not able to do what he usually does. I mean, they're more dependent on Hero as far as from a shot making perspective. Hero Butler is pretty much the only two guys that can create for themselves. And then Lowry has to do that plus create for others. He has to get other guys going. So maybe some wing depth. I don't know about Oladipo. I mean, he's always hurt. Maybe he would have been a decent help. But like Terrell said, man, I really just don't know what's up with this team.
Yeah, and it also it's worth mentioning Hero didn't play, but Butler went for 35, 10, and 8, and Adebayo went for 18 and 14. So you got big contributions from your main two guys. You even got 14 points off the bench from Robinson. Vincent was bad from the floor. He still gave you 12 points. So you had decent bench production, and yet you still barely beat the Hornets. There's really no serious red flag. It just seems like this team, for whatever reason, is just playing down the competition. No offense to PJ Tucker. I don't think it's because PJ Tucker's no longer there. I'm just going to say that, but that's a whole separate can of worms. I know Terrell's connection was kind of iffy. I think he just went to reset everything. But
yeah, I thought that was me. I thought it was me.
You have any takeaways from last night as well? Because the Heat was the main one. Yes, they won, but it was really a great spot against a really bad shorthanded Hornets team, and they couldn't fully capitalize. Is it time to have the Philly conversation? Or you want to talk about Dallas first?
No, we can stick with Miami. I mean, just because I was a lot lower coming in on Miami simply because of all the things that we, kind of went over. Like the shot creating is just not there. I mean, other than Hero, like they rely a lot on Bam to run some of the sets, especially in the half court. He has the ball in his hands most of the time more than Kyle Lowry. I mean, they rely on him to do a lot, which is why they struggled against Boston. Because Tatum, Brown were able to, kind of neutralize, and to a lesser extent, Horford were able to neutralize Bam and his ability to be able to create. So, I mean, I just don't think that they're just that good at right now at the moment. Maybe it's just as a favorite, but I don't see what they can do. Maybe lineup tinkering, but
based on the lineup right now, you can't trade Lowry. His contract's too bad. You can't trade him. So you're stuck with Lowry, who's past his prime. Strus has been terrible for the most part from 3 this season. You look at the supporting cast, and you thought it'd be better. But I just feel like the Heat definitely need to do something, because this current roster right now, they might not get out of the first round.
I agree. 100% I agree.
But they weren't even arguably the most disappointing team last night. I mean, the Sixers have some injuries. I'm going to ask you, Terrell, who'd you rather talk about next? I know we got to get into the slate. Would you rather talk about the Sixers or the Mavericks?
Oh, ew, neither. Let's go to the slate. Fuck
You want to
them.
just go to the slate? I was going to bring it up just because both teams were awful last night. But, I mean, the Sixers, I guess, have an alibi because Harden's not playing and they're paying him like a bunch of money. And Tobias Harris is overpaid. So the supporting cast isn't very good. That Dallas loss was brutal. That was really, really bad.
I think Christian Wood is a lot of what they want to do offensively, though. So I will say that
I think that's a problem in itself, but we can unpack that slowly but surely. But it's rough for Dallas right now. But they're also up double digits. They completely fell apart in the second half, but they're on a back-to-back. Porzingis, though, not in the lineup. Beal's not in the lineup. You still lose the game pretty handily. I don't think Dallas is very good.
I'll say this before we move on. Christian Wood has to play for Dallas to be a solid team because ultimately what all they're doing is just playing Christian Wood and second stringers. And so Christian Wood is the focal point of the offense. And then what he does ends up ultimately creating for everybody else. So when you take that piece out of it, there's really no identity on that second string when you have, your Luka and your Dinwiddie come out of the game. So it's either, Christian Wood and the second stringers or Luka and Dinwiddie are playing the whole game. So, I'm not backing this. I'm not backing this team until Christian Wood comes back, and then I see a little bit more.
No, the game's it's extremely simple to bet Dallas or bet against them. If you want to bet Dallas, just parlay it with Luka over in points because the only way they're gonna win is if Luka goes nuts because his usage rate is one of the highest of all time because they actually can't do anything when Luka doesn't have the ball. Now I know Dinwiddie was good yesterday. They got Hardaway Jr. back, but you're looking at Dallas's roster.
It feels like Jokic. It feels like Jokic in that Nuggets team when everybody was hurt.
It feels like Harden, like on the Rockets, where he's won the ball for 20 seconds every single possession. But
that's a good point.
Dallas really needs to trade one of the wings because I'm looking at Reggie Bullock, I'm looking at Hardaway Jr., I'm looking at Finney Smith. I think they're decent players as role players, but if you're going to have three separate guys who are just going to stand in the corner and shoot threes, but none of them actually want to dribble the basketball, your team's extremely limited offensively. They need another wing, another ball handler that can actually take some pressure off Luka. Because I don't know if I've seen Finney Smith take more than 5 dribbles the entire season. That's not exactly ideal.
So Tim Hardaway is the only one out of those three that can actually create for himself. Now I know he's coming off a big injury.
Do you actually like his handle, or is he mostly a come-around screen guy?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I think he's got a handle, but based on what I've seen in the NBA,
hey, you gotta remember who his pops is, though. You gotta remember his pops. He learned that. He learned that.
I'm not saying his handle's bad. I'm just saying the last couple years he really has not had to use the handle.
It's
and
more
every now and then you see a player who you kind of don't use it that often, and your handle gets a little bit weaker as time goes on.
Yeah,
but
I
don't think I've seen Hardaway be a serious ball handler since arguably with the Knicks. It's been a long time since he's actually had a big responsibility of dribbling the basketball.
And it's because that's not what, and we're going back to, Rick Barnes, Dallas, and that's just not what Rick Barnes wanted to do and wanted him to do. He wanted him more to play to the wing. Carlisle. I said Barnes. Yeah, Carlisle. Carlisle.
He underachieves as well.
Yeah, he underachieves as well. But and we got to hurry up because we got to talk about the games. But last point is that just Rick Carlisle wanted him more to be a spot up shooter, and he really didn't tap into that. And then he's been injured this whole time with Jason Kidd. So I do expect when he's back in game shape and under game minutes that he takes on a little bit more of that Spencer Dinwiddie last year coming off the bench as a third ball handler in that offense. So you had the Brunson, Dinwiddie, and Luka. Now you're going to have the Luka, Dinwiddie, and Hardaway Jr. I think he can handle that. It's just, he's got to get back into game shape. It's been a long time since we've seen him.
I think he can too, but the point is with Brunson no longer on the team, they only have 2 serious ball handlers right now.
It's going to take team. I think Dallas will look a lot better towards the end of the season than they do now. I will say that.
I agree, but they need another ball handler. They just need it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of boils down to, they got to trust those guys. I mean, it's just Luka has the ball in his hands so much. I mean,
and they don't have a choice.
Yeah, true. But you gotta at least try to get some of those guys off the ball. I mean, Brunson was pretty much the same player as Luka with the second squad. So I mean, his absence is definitely showing up. But like you said, I mean, they do got to get some more ball handling to be able to take some pressure off of Luka. Would make them a lot better for sure.
All right, fellas, we got to talk about these games. But before we do that, WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. Look, you have the Wynn Casino. You have online casino play. You have sports betting. You have the WinBet Win Hour, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursdays get a larger payout on the game of the week. Great promos, odds, and payouts. Everything at WinBet. So much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change, terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, let's get into this slate. First game up, we have the Denver Nuggets playing the Boston Celtics. Celtics are laying 4.5 at home. 230.5 is the total. It's actually dropped from 233. Injury report for these two games. And we have Ish Smith, who is out for the Nuggets, and Malcolm Brogdon, who is out for the Celtics.
Brogdon's hurt already? What are we, 10 games in, 11 games in?
Hey, man, look, I would have lost because I had the under. Healthy. I had the under. I didn't think he was going to make it this far without an out, but here we go. All right, Nuggets, Celtics. Scott, what are you doing?
I'm on the over in this game. I don't really understand the under money. Both teams defensively have really not been great lately. Boston's excusable because you have Robert Williams, who is one of the best or most impactful defensive players in the league, and he hasn't played. So the rim protection has not been great for Boston. Denver is an offensive team with a lot of weapons because you have Jokic and a bunch of three-point shooters, and you tell them have some fun. And that's basically how they score a bunch of points every game. But Denver's defense has kind of been awful lately. And I'm not saying it fully goes back to Jokic because I know in the playoffs he got torched for being a bad rim protector. But overall, they're really not a good defensive team. Porter Jr. has been a mess defensively since he came into the league. Jamal Williams, off injury, has not really been a great defender either. I'm just looking at this Denver team, and they got into a track meet against the Pacers, but they ended up scoring at least 122 in 3 of their last 4 games. Boston can score a bunch of points. Boston scored at least 123 in 3 of the last 4. I see a track meet in this one. I'm just on the over. Both teams want to run. I think that's going to definitely result in a lot of good or high number of possessions for both sides. I'm on the over. I'm the sides up in the air. I think I'd lean Boston, but I don't feel great about it. I'm just on the over. Do you understand why there's under money? Because I think both teams could get to 115, and I would not be surprised.
I think the only thing that I could, determine why there's under money is because the total was just so high.
Yeah.
But I can't have I have no quarrels with you taking it over there. Anything on the side?
For the side, I think I'm going to lean Boston. I'll just take him in the Garden, but I don't feel great about it either. I really don't have anything strong about the side because we know Boston's been a bit of a psycho team this season, and that's kind of why I'm staying away. But I do like the over a lot. Both teams defensively have really not shown me much. And since the pace will be there because both teams want to run, I'm just expecting a massive amount of points. You're going to see a couple of Twitter parlays on this game of just blind overs for player props, and it's going to end up hitting some random person hitting a 15-leg alternative, like over whatever. It's going to happen. But either way, I'm on the over. I just see a lot of points in this game.
Boston 5-0 straight up in the last 5. This is dating all the way back to 2019, by the way. 5-0 in the last 5. 4-1 ATS in those 5 games.
Wait, you said since 2019. What's the caveat?
No, there's no caveat. Like, they don't play that often. They only play twice a year. They've literally
you mean against each other? Okay.
In the head-to-head.
You just said straight up. I'm like the last.
Oh,
5
my
games
fault. Yeah, in the head-to-head,
in
the head-to-head between these two teams, Boston's 5-0 in the last 5 straight up, and 4-1 ATS. The under has come in 4 of the last 5, being the last one, the only one that went over. Delonte, what are you doing in this game?
Man, I'm with Scott. I'm on the over as well. I mean, I don't understand the money at all. I didn't even know that it moved that much. But along with both of the teams not being able to defend with their respective problems on the defensive end, they're both like 2 of the most efficient offenses in the NBA. The Boston Celtics are, they are first in points per 100 possessions. Denver's first in effective field goal percentage. So not only will they be able to get up and down the court, but once they get in a rhythm, they'll be able to score. I mean, it's in the numbers. They're both very effective when they're running their offenses. Both teams 6-4 to the over in the last 10. Denver is 5-2 to the over on the road, while Boston is 4-1. I'm sorry, at home. So I'm with Scott on this. I don't understand how both of these teams don't at least get to 115, 118, somewhere around that range. As far as the side, I would probably lean to Boston, simply because I don't think that Denver will be able to contain Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I mean, not many teams can, but the way they're playing right now, I don't see much slowing down between them. So I would lean to the side of Boston and definitely to the over for the total.
All right. Let's see
Bro,
here.
I know you're going to take Denver because you hate Boston, so just get it over with already. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I let y'all go
Yeah.
first. What was,
I know.
what was the point of me going first? Everybody already knew my pick. And I mean, hey, all I'm going to say is the Sharps is with me. 45% of money is on, 45% of the bets is on the Nuggets. 80% of the money is on the Nuggets. Sharps coming in heavy on the Nuggets here, plus 4.5. And I'm going to take it because ultimately it's the same logic that you guys have. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think this is going to be a track meet. And I think that this could be a close game. Like these two teams kind of match up very well. And honestly, I don't know who's going to slow down Jokic. Like I have no idea who's going to slow down Jokic for this Boston Celtics team. And so when Jokic gets in his mode and he has one of those crazy Jokic games, and I feel like it's been a while since we've seen him with one of those crazy Jokic games where he just
he was going to have one against Indiana. He was going to have one last game, and then he picked up 5 fouls like by the early part of the third quarter. But I think he had like 15 points in the first quarter. Like he was headed for 40, and then foul trouble.
Yeah, so I'm going there. I don't think that he gets into that point where he just picks up all those fouls like that. And I'm playing a big Jokic game. We always play centers against the Celtics. We've been doing this for years. So I'm going to play a big Jokic game. And I think that this is going to be the one that everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's MVP Jokic. And plus, they lost to this team 5 times in a row. Come on, guys. Like, y'all got to show up. So, yeah, I'm on the Nuggets plus 4.5. That was easy. Y'all, I'm the sharp there on that one.
What about
we'll see
Jokic
at the end of the game? But, you know.
I'll go Jokic triple-double and a win. What's that? Let's find a number and a number on that. That's got to be a juicy number.
I'll pull that up while we move on.
All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Phoenix Suns going to play the Orlando Magic. -7.5 are the Suns on the road against the Magic. 217.5 is the total. Injury report for this one, and we have Landry Shamet, who is out for the Suns. Chris Paul is questionable. Paolo Banchero and Kevon Harris are both questionable for this game. That's really going to open up more of what you decide to do in this one. Scott, you got a number on that before we break this down?
A number is in my thoughts on the game, or do you have an actual?
No, I'm talking about the Jokic.
Oh, sorry.
Triple-double.
I was pulling it up right now. So I'll give you both. I'll give you the triple double, and then I'll also give you the with the win attached to it. So triple double, Jokic was plus 280, which is
not enough value.
Not great.
Not enough value.
But Jokic with the triple double and them to win is just pulling it up here. The worst part is trying to find it in the list of massive things around here. I see plus 780.
Okay, that's worth it. How about that?
That's a good bit.
Okay.
All right. Where are we at? Denver's 8-3. Just Denver's 8-3. That's slightly shocking, but yes, 7.5. Delonte, what are you doing with the Suns?
Honestly, it did it say on the injury report whether Paolo is he probable?
He's just questionable.
He's just questionable. Yeah, it's kind of hard to dictate what Orlando is going to be without Paolo in the lineup. If he's in the lineup, honestly, they're a little bit they've been a little bit feisty at home. They're 5-1 against the spread at home. So I mean, most of the time they're catching bigger numbers. And my first day on the show, I took Golden State and lost against them because Jalen Suggs wanted to tap into his inner Gonzaga days and
look good for a half. Yeah,
and just torch. He was just torched Steph and Clay and anybody that was on him. But I would lean to Orlando with the caveat that if Banchero plays, I definitely will be on Orlando. Phoenix, they play good defense. Without Chris Paul, is he questionable as well?
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss that. Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of a lot of factors that go into which way I lean. But if Banchero's in, definitely would lean towards Orlando. I mean, they don't do anything well as far as shooting, but getting to the rim, They are second in shots made. They shoot 67.9% at the rim. Now, the downside to that is that Phoenix is really great at defending the rim. But without Banchero, I don't think they can cover this number. But with them, I think they got a shot.
All right. Yeah.
Are we just
Do they sit Banchero?
blindly backing Booker again?
I think we just blindly back. No, well, yeah, no, we just blindly back Booker.
I'll take
again.
his assist. If Chris Paul's out, he's been more facilitator. So
yeah, he had 10 last game.
Yeah,
we
so
talked about that last time out when we said that that Chris Paul was out there. We liked Devin Booker assist, and he went out there, had a double. So
yeah,
I see 6.5. The over is plus 116 for Booker to get 7 or more assists.
Yeah, they ticked it up a little bit. It was 5.5 last game, which I understand. But I think we just blindly kind of back Booker's points there. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have a handicap here because Paolo Banchero just means so much to if I even question if the Magic are going to be in this game. So I'm just going to blindly take the Suns, Scott.
Yeah, I think that this line is where it should be because we don't exactly know the injury report or the final injury report. I think we can agree Banchero is a lot more valuable than Chris Paul right now. Chris Paul's basically a shell of his former self. Of course, he's still a very good floor general, but he really doesn't operate much of the offense anymore, and that's why his point totals have been so low this season. I'm on the fence for this one. I think I'm going to lean to the under. Orlando did play without Banchero against Dallas. They won the game. And yes, Dallas is a pretty underwhelming team right now because Luka's been a bit of a funk and they have no backup options, but I don't exactly trust Orlando offensively to do much without Banchero. And I do think Phoenix, even though they can score a lot of points, they are a bit methodical. And Orlando is not exactly an up-tempo team. I'm going to lean to the under there. If you want a kind of a sneaky look, I maybe wouldn't mind the Magic fourth quarter. Phoenix, which was known for being a great fourth quarter team, if you look at their point differential on the road this season, it's the 5th worst in the league. They have a negative 4.5 point differential in the fourth quarter in road games. They're just a really bad fourth quarter team on the highway. Orlando, though, at home, +2 at home. I don't really know why, but Orlando's been a decent fourth quarter team at home, and Phoenix is not. You also have a blowout angle. If Phoenix blows it open, they maybe take their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. A sneaky plus money play might be Orlando fourth quarter. Just going to throw it out there.
No, yeah, I like that. I think that and you could get some pretty solid odds on that if you bet it pregame rather than, closer to win the game.
But it shocked me, though, because Phoenix
what are the odds on
great. Let me see if I can find it.
Like usually I know some books post fourth quarter odds, but
I have it here. Orlando fourth quarter money line's plus 116. The spread's plus 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard for pregame quarters.
It's short, but it just shocked me that Phoenix, who's been known for being such a great fourth quarter team, is that bad on the road this season in the fourth quarter. I found that kind of shocking.
I mean, it kind of goes back to Chris Paul used to dominate the fourth quarter for that team, and now that he's kind of playing as a shell of himself, that they decline as a fourth quarter team, and they're still trying to figure out, all right, Book, are you going to be that guy? Are we going to go more to a team style basketball? How are we going to attack the fourth quarter now? Really quick. We're wrapping up on that game, but let's just double back into the comments real quick. We got Tatum over 27.5 points, over 2.5 threes. Michael Porter threes. I'm pretty sure his threes are probably set at 2.5 as well.
Probably heavily juiced to the over at 2.5.
Yeah. I'm on. I mean, I like all three. I like.
We're expecting over 230 points. I'm not going to take an under on any of these props. I mean, we're just expecting people to score.
And Michael Porter, I think, does have a little bit of a mismatch with the wings of the Celtics there. I mean, Jason Tatum, I think, will do a pretty good job. But if he can, avoid Jason Tatum and have a matchup over a smaller guy, then I think that Michael Porter could actually have a little pretty decent of a game. There's some points prop to be made in that game. You just got to figure out the right one. Maybe I'll have it at the end of the game.
Yeah, if KCP is mostly on Jaylen Brown, then Tatum could blow through that, because he's the only on-ball defender that they have. So
they're going to try Bruce Brown. He gives up too much size to Tatum. So
an issue. Yeah, so if KCP can, stay off him a little, I think he might blow through that.
Yeah, we all know Mike Porter Jr. doesn't know what defense is. All right, next game on the slate, we have the Detroit Pistons going to play the New York Knicks. -8.5 for the Knicks. Come up from 7. 224.5 is the total. Clicking over for an injury report here, and we have Quentin Grimes, who is probable for this game. Not like it matters. They don't use him. And for the Detroit Pistons, we have Alec Burks, who is probable, Marvin Bagley, Cade Cunningham, Hamidou Diallo, all questionable for this game with different injuries. All right, Scott, you're getting 8.5 with the Knicks against the Pistons at home. What are you doing?
So this one has me thrown for a loop because Cade's questionable, but we know players, occasionally step up for these MSG games. I think Ivy has himself a great game. If Cunningham's not in the lineup, I'll look for his player props over. Maybe Bogdanovich threes as well. But the Pistons, we've talked about. We want to like this team on paper, but we think Dwayne Casey's a bad coach. And it's just really how it comes down to it. I think that they're a poorly organized team that seems to really fall apart, especially in the second half of games. Now, the Knicks can go two ways because they got blown out against their in-state rival by 30 and change. They no-showed the game. They've been awful offensively. Defensively, not great either recently. So you can argue that might linger, or they'll be pissed off and they'll show up for this game. So you can make an argument either way. I don't trust either team, so I'm going to lean to Detroit. I'm not laying 8.5 with the Knicks right now, or 8 with the Knicks. I can't do it. This team with Thibodeau offensively is not great. Barrett has been really struggling lately. It seems like he has just plateaued a bit, and you're kind of waiting for him to take another leap, so to speak. I'm not sure he has it in him. Randall's been decent this year. Brunson was good to start the year. He's kind of fallen off a cliff lately. And defensively, this team's a disaster. So I'm going to lean to Detroit and hope that the three-point shooting keeps them in this game. But I can't lay 8 with the Knicks right now. That I just can't do. So give me Detroit.
All right. Lance, over
yeah,
to you.
man, I'm with you on that. I mean, it's just a lot of like if I could get if I could get Cade back, like I obviously we won't get 8.5. I think it might go down to where it opened at, but like
6 or 7 probably.
Yeah. If we could get Cade back, Cade hasn't been like his last game. He was 1 of 11. He only had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 for 5 from 3. So, and like you said, a lot of players show up in Madison Square Garden. So if we could get Cade, and I've read that Alec Burks is likely to play. I was digging into
a revenge Burks game. Let's go.
That's what I was leaning to. Yeah. So it's just a lot of uncertainty on the Detroit side. So I can't just endorse a play, but I would be leaning to Detroit. I mean, I think the second half that they had last year and what they did in the offseason as far as getting Ivy and how he looked in the 6 or 7 minutes that he played in the summer league. And they were covering spreads. Like I was betting them after the All-Star break, I was betting them like every game. They were just crushing it every game. So I think they came in a little bit overvalued as a team from a point spread perspective. So with K back, I'll definitely be on them. But I mean, like you said, I can't trust the Knicks. I don't know what they're gonna do as a big favorite like this. I mean, they are at home. They got blown out, like you said, but I just don't know the psyche of this team if they're able to win by, essentially double digits against a feisty Detroit team.
Detroit's a bad team, but I'm going to ask Terrell, is there any team in the league that you'd actually want to be laying 8 points with the Knicks against?
Yeah, the Detroit.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm fading Dwayne Casey. I'm fading Dwayne Casey and Dwayne Casey to make adjustments if potentially his star player is out against the Knicks in this spot. I know that this is a spot where the other team can show out and have a really good game, and not necessarily the other team, but specific players. Like people coming to Madison Square Garden, that's big lights. That's the mecca of basketball. Like that's where you want to go show off. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm buying into Jaden Ivey, especially if Cade Cunningham is out. I'm buying into him, having that good big spot. And they came to, I'm pretty sure, was that in Madison Square Garden or was that in Detroit? Let me go back and look. It was in the Garden. So they come to the Garden already this season. So yeah, the Knicks blew them out there. I expect them to do close to the same here. I just think that the Knicks are a team that you can bet them against weak teams, and anybody that has a pulse, a living, breathing pulse, and is able to close out games, then I don't think that you want to bet against the Knicks bet with the Knicks against. But no, I think that this spot against the Pistons where they have a questionable defense, I don't think that the coaching aspect of Dwayne Casey can will them for 4 quarters over a win here, I think that this just kind of stretches out. Knicks get a pretty nice win at home to bounce back from getting absolutely destroyed by the Nets. So yeah, I'm on Knicks minus 8.5.
I don't have numbers on the Pistons players because they pulled out the props while Cunningham is still questionable, but I'm not sure if I fully love a ladder for Ivy, but I do think he's going to have a very good game here. I don't think Cade's going to play. You read off the numbers before, Delonte, but he went 1 for 11 and got pulled mid-game against Boston.
Yeah,
I don't think he's playing. I think he's missing the game. When you shoot that badly, it means that something was definitely lingering before that. I think they give him the day off, and I think Ivy's going to have the full green light to have the ball in his hands the entire time. Maybe Boy on threes. The Knicks defensively against the three have, I believe, not been great this season. They haven't been great at anything defensively this season. So.
Yeah, no. I like Pistons props. I think this is a high scoring game, and when we go to the total, I'm definitely going over. I just think that the Knicks are able to put together a lot more possessions and get a lot more things offensively going. Whereas the Detroit Pistons are probably going to do a lot of their scoring in spurts. Like they may actually come out and have a really good quick spurt in the beginning of game, but I think that this is more of just the Knicks route at the end of the game.
Yeah. One more thing, if I can add, the Knicks, I was looking at some of the defensive metrics. They're not as terrible as some of the eye tests would say. I seen that they were 3rd in field goal percentage allowed and 12th in 3-point percentage allowed. So I mean that kind of goes. Even though I'm leaning to the Pistons, I can get where you're going with some of the Knicks stuff. And I mean Detroit offensively, they're like horrible. They're bottom 5 field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, effective field goal percentage, 2-point percentage. They can't put the ball in the hole at all. So I can see where you're going, but like if Cade is there, him, Ivy, I think that they can stay within the number. But like you said, I would highly doubt that Cade plays. I would probably look at the points, rebounds, assists for Ivy. The last 3 games, 35, 32, and 27 total. So
statistically speaking, the Knicks might be a mediocre defensive team according to analytics and everything, but with Thibodeau being a defensive-minded coach, the serious red flag for me isn't the fact that they're giving up a lot of points. It happens. There's a lot of talent in the NBA. It's just the lack of effort for a consistent 48 minutes. It looks like they're going through the motions for half the game, both offensively and defensively. It just seems like they lack a certain intensity, which has been the story of Thibodeau's career. Usually the first couple of years, you have a maximum effort, and the Knicks made the playoffs because of it. And since then, it just seems like they pick and choose when they actually want to play with full effort. And for that reason, I am concerned about this defense because I just feel like they're not fully committed to that end like they were the previous few years. That's my main issue with this defense.
I agree with that.
Anything else for this game?
No, I like the over as well, but that's basically it.
All right. Next, we have the Milwaukee Bucks going to play the San Antonio Spurs on the road. Spurs are laying 2 on the road here. 220 is the total. If you see the Spurs laying 2, you know it's got to be some injury stuff. So guess what? Giannis and Jrue Holiday both out for this game. Zach Collins on the Spurs side still out. Don't think he's even made an appearance this year. Giving a lot of Kendrick Nunn vibes there. A lot of Kendrick Nunn vibes. All right, Delonte,
but they've scored the same amount of points.
Yeah, that's actually true. All right, San Antonio Spurs -2. Delonte, what are you doing?
Man, I know it's crazy, but the Spurs, they've been in every single game, except for when they got blew out by, I think Toronto blew them out.
They benched everybody in that game. Doesn't count.
Yeah. So I think they've been feisty. So I would actually lean in playing the Spurs in this spot. I mean, some of the numbers, of course, are skewed with Milwaukee because they're not going to have Jrue, they're not going to have Giannis, but they lean on their defense, and I think that Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, I think that's a good 1-2 punch. I would look. One of my favorite plays in this game is going to be Keldon Johnson over 5.5 rebounds. Being that Zach Collins is not there, he's more so playing like a hybrid 4. So he's down in the paint. He does a lot of posting up. He's like a stretch 4 type of player, but he'll be inside. And we all know Brook Lopez. He's not gonna want to actually bang against anybody, no matter the size. So he's gonna try to stay more on the perimeter. I do worry about Bobby Portis. banging up with Keldon Johnson and wearing him down a little bit. But 5.5 rebounds, I think it's kind of short. He's got there in 4 of the last 5. So that would be one of my plays in the game. As far as the side and total, I would play San Antonio, honestly. They took a heartbreaking loss to Memphis a couple nights ago. I think they bounce back and get the win against shorthanded Milwaukee team.
All right. Scott, over to you.
By the way, just to touch upon what you talk about for Milwaukee's bigs, Lopez's rebounds is 7.5. The over's plus money. Bobby Portis is 12.5, and it's minus 115 on the over. Portis can rebound like a machine. He's a hell of a player. But
he's playing down there, man. Brook Lopez don't want.
Well, he needs to.
He don't want it.
Splash Mountain out there is trying to shoot 3-pointers the entire time. But
he
I'm
literally Mountain.
Yeah. I'm going with San Antonio as well. I really like this play. Milwaukee beat Oklahoma City in miraculous fashion because Shea hit the game. What we thought was the game winner. Then the one thing you can't do is give up an alley-oop, and they gave up an alley-oop because they fouled Lopez. He hit both free throws. But am I expecting another Javon Carter 36-point masterclass? I am not.
Yes, you are.
I am not. So
yes, you are.
I think even though Milwaukee won the game, I think it was a little bit fluky because Carter just woke up on the right side of the bed and had himself a nuclear game. I'm not going to assume
that. When did you know you was going off today? When I woke up.
When I woke up, yeah. He just woke up and had one of those days, but I don't think that's going to happen
all dog
here.
team. Javon Carter, dog.
Yeah, definitely a dog.
I love them in West Virginia, but still.
Yeah.
I still think that if you're looking at the overall talent for both teams, San Antonio probably is the more talented roster with Giannis and Drew missing. And I do think that San Antonio at home, they have a good home court, but they've been feisty. And I faded them in that one game where they had a tank squad against Toronto and they lost by 40. But when they actually use everyone, Vassell, Johnson, I'm a big Jakob Poeltl guy. I think he's a good center. I think he should have a good game on the glass. Trey Jones, pretty underrated point guard. Can't really shoot, but he's a very good facilitator. I think the ball movement will be a lot for Milwaukee's defense to handle. And I do think that San Antonio has enough offensive weapons to actually score against this defense. And people can talk about Holiday's absence being a big deal offensively. He's also well regarded around the league as being one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Mm-hmm. And that's why Shea absolutely torched this team last time out.
Yep.
I think that's the San Antonio can actually get a lot done in these perimeter matchups because I'm not sold on Grayson Allen playing a boosted role defensively. Give me San Antonio at home. I think it's a good number. I'm going to take him.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm on. And I mean, you guys said while I'm on San Antonio, I'm not going to piggyback off that. I'm going to just go straight to the props. And I mean, Devin Vassell has just been a man on a mission this year. Like, he's really taken over and stepped into that role coming out of Florida State and really taken over as that next good player for this San Antonio team. I know we got Keldon Johnson there, but Devin Vassell's been playing really, really well in that backcourt. And they just now caught up with the prop. His prop sitting at 20.5. And I still think that's still a little bit short for him, and that he can get the 21 points in this game. And it's really just because there's no Drew Holiday to take on that best guard in that backcourt. And I know we think of Javon Carter, we think of, oh, he's a pretty good defender, perimeter defender, but it's just not the system for him. And that's why I was on Shea, knowing that Javon Carter was still playing this game, was going to get more minutes.
He also has to use a lot of energy offensively because he's going to handle the ball a lot. And
it's just more of, he came from West Virginia. What does West Virginia do? They play that zone and run the zone all the time. And so it's more of a zone defense. Yeah. It's like he has help from the other players and how he plays defense. And he's more a man on an island when he plays in his Milwaukee Bucks system. So he gets cooked a little bit more than he probably should. And I think that Vassell, I'm not going to pick Trey Jones, and I might actually sprinkle a little bit on Trey Jones to do some scoring this game.
I don't mind the assist potentially for Jones. Maybe a sneaky double-double look there.
Yeah, he had a double-double in the last game against Memphis, 11 and 11. He was 4 for 13 from the field, which is
just saying it's 5-1 for Trey Jones double-double. That's a hell of a deal.
Yeah,
for a starting point guard against a defense that just gave up like 120. I know it went to double overtime, but Oklahoma City had a lot of good offensive possessions there. 5-1 for a starting point guard against a compromised defense. That's a hell of a deal.
I like Trey Jones, and I like Josh Richardson. I don't see any Josh Richardson props right now because he's coming off the bench, but closer to game time, I'm going to be looking towards Josh Richardson as well. I think that he's another shot creator that can get behind this Milwaukee defense and put together some nice scores. But yeah, I think this is the game to get on San Antonio props here, and hopefully they don't nerf up the win, but we know this Bucks team just finds a way to win games sometimes. Yeah. All right. I'm pretty sure we're all on the over if we haven't made that stated yet. Anybody?
I'm at least
wanna-
on San Antonio team total over, but
Yeah.
I think it's 218.5 with San Antonio. Like I kind of have to take the over in that one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Toronto Raptors going to play the OKC Thunder in Oklahoma City. -5 for the Raptors. 219.5 is the total. Scrolling over for an injury report here. And we have Darius Baisley, who was out for the Thunder. Then we have Birch and Achua, who are both out for the Raptors. And we know that Pascal Siakam is going to be out for a little bit of an extended time, so they're not going to have him as well. All right, I'll kick things off pretty easy. I'm taking OKC +5. I'm taking OKC +5. I rarely don't like catching points with OKC. I'll definitely do it over a Raptors team that's missing its best player, a couple good role players, and a Shea that wants to prove, one, I'm a winner. I can go out here and get a win. And he really had a win last game. I still, to this day, have no idea how we got to double overtime after he hits a game-winning three with 0.0, not game-winning, but a go-ahead
0.6,
three
I think, or
with
on the clock or
0.6.
something.
Yeah, 0.6 left on the clock, up one. Like, I have no idea how we even got to overtime at that point. But yeah, I'm on Shea here. I think Shea has another really, really solid game. It's just one, I'm kind of downplaying Fred VanVleet and what he's been doing defensively this year, but I think Shea gonna show out for the hometown team playing in OKC against the Raptors. Everybody knows about the Shea to the Raptors talk, and it's been going on. It's been a lot. There's been reports. It's been everything. It's saying that he is a player that can make a move for. Why not show off? I'm on Shea all over again today. But yeah, give me this OKC team +5. I think that even with Baisley out, they still have a lot of players that can still score the basketball, which is Shea. I like Dort a lot better at home than I like him on the road. Trey Mann has been doing a lot of good stuff for them off the bench. I think that this OKC team can keep it close.
I'll go next, I guess. So
Yeah.
I'm on the fence about this one because Toronto's been pretty underwhelming on the road. They're 2-4 away. I think one of the only wins they have, was against San Antonio when they had a tank squad in and they won by 43. So
yeah,
they lost to Chicago by 14. They lost to Dallas by 1. It was really 4. They had a meaningless buzzer beater. I don't know if it was meaningless. They actually covered in the end, but it was a buzzer beater that meant nothing at the end of the game. They ended up beating Miami, which I don't even know if that's a good win anymore or not. But still, the point is on the road, they have not been great. But I am going to lean to Toronto in this one. Oklahoma City once again lost to a Milwaukee team that was missing Giannis and Drew Holiday. They give up 36 points to Javon Carter. That's almost impossible to do. Like, I'm going to have to lean to the Raptors here. I just really like their overall depth. I just think that the Raptors have a lot of options, even without their best player in Siakam. VanVleet's been really good since coming back from injury. Anunoby's been amazing. He's been a great player for that team. Scotty Barnes is still really good. And I know that their center spot might be an issue, but OKC can't rebound either. So I don't think that's really going to be a big issue. I don't mind maybe Scotty Barnes double-double in this game. I think he could have a pretty good rebounding game especially. But I'm on Toronto. I think defensively, they can throw a lot of different looks at Shea to maybe limit him. Shea might go nuts anyway. It hasn't mattered. They're 4-7. They've lost 4 straight. So Shea can get his. They just stop everybody else. But I'm going to take Toronto here. I think that even though Oklahoma City maybe should have won the game against Milwaukee, you went to double overtime against a team missing Giannis and Middleton and Holiday. I'm not exactly impressed by that. I'm going to take Toronto. They're a deeper team. They're a better coach team. I do really respect Oklahoma City's coach, though. I think he's very good. But I am going to go with Toronto here. I think the number's a little bit too short. If Shea does not go for 35, Oklahoma City might get run out of the building. That's good enough for me. I'm going to take Toronto.
All right, Lonte, what you doing?
Did you have a total for this game? I just want to make sure it's accurate before I read it off.
219.5.
Yeah, I like the over. As far as the side, like I think both of you guys made compelling points.
It's tricky. It's very tricky.
Like I couldn't. I guess it's like a coin flip to me. I mean, I trust OKC getting points at home more than I do Toronto laying points on the road, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like what I like the most, it would be the over. Like both teams, like number one in turnover rate. Basically, OKC, the percentage of their possessions that ended in turnover, they rank first in the NBA. And what Toronto does best is they take the ball away. They are third in turnover percentage. So I mean, like, it's going to be a lot of possessions. It's going to be a lot of turnovers. That's going to lead to a lot of points, a lot of easy points, a lot of layups. So I like the. Oh, I think it's a little bit short. Um, Shea is like he's one of the better guards in the NBA, like underrated. So like you were saying, Terrell, I think he's going to be able to try to put on the show. The only problem I have with the over is that when Shea's not on the floor, like it's no offense at all. Like they don't know what to do. They have a negative 15 net rating when Shea's on the bench.
And Toronto's bench is actually decent. Could be
Yeah.
better,
Right.
could be worse.
So like my only problem is that we get a lull of maybe like 4 or 5 minutes where it's, not a lot of scoring going on. Toronto's they're trying to find that second score, being that Pascal's out, they're trying to find a guy to, get hot. Maybe OG and Trent can, light them up from three. But with Baisley out, I think one of those guys is going to have a 20 or 25 point game. I just can't pinpoint who it's going to be. OG scored 20 plus in the last 3 of the last 4. So he might be a good candidate to look at for some props. If
I think he's the most underrated player in the league. I'm a big Anunoby.
OG?
I think he's a hell of a player.
I mean, just health wise, he just couldn't stay healthy.
That's the problem. But I'm saying
the first few years,
he's a hell of a player if you watch him play.
Yeah, so I would lean to the over. Just the only worry is just without Shea, I just don't know. Like if he gets in any kind of foul trouble, if he, he's off the court for X amount of time, they don't know what to do without Shea. I mean, and rightfully so. But I would definitely lean to the over. I think we get a lot of possessions. Both teams gonna get up and down the court. 8-4 against the spread is Toronto. 4-2 on the road as a favorite. So that's kind of leaning in Scott's favor with that. But yeah, I would lean to the over.
All right. Like it. Before we get into the rest of the slate, got to talk to you about us, the SGPN merch store, where you can go get anything you're looking for, any stocking stuffer, all of that holiday shopping, everything. Talk about my third leg of my parlay shorts. You could have Christmas sweater. You could have all of these things right now, 10% off when you use promo code DALLASSUCKS, all capital. If it spells something,
no exclamation point.
No exclamation point at all. Period. No exclamation point. No period. No nothing else. It's just straight up all caps. DALLASSUCKS. All right. Now, last 3 games. Let's go ahead and knock them out. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves going to play the Memphis Grizzlies. In Memphis, -4 for the Grizzlies. 234.5 is the total. Going over to an injury report here, and we have Naz Reid is out for the Timberwolves. For the Timberwolves, Naz Reid is out, and that's all I'm seeing here. All right. Scott, what are you doing here with Memphis laying 4 at home?
So normally this is a spot where a team just got eliminated by the other team, and you blindly bet the team that lost in the playoffs to get up and try to win this game.
Yep.
I think Minnesota stinks. Going into the year, I thought they'd be a bad team. And I think that the Gobert trade might go down as one of the worst trades in modern NBA history. I think it's arguably worse than you can argue it's arguably worse than the KG Paul Pierce trade to the Nets. It's a discussion.
Ooh.
I think it's really a discussion.
It's in there.
This
is
going to age horribly. Honorable mention, by the way, the Paul George trade with Oklahoma City, because they got Shea and about 95 draft picks. I think that's also one of the worst trades of all time for the Clippers, especially if they don't win anything. But this trade is an absolute disaster, and it's aging even more horribly. Their starting 5 is one of the worst starting 5s in the league in terms of net rating. They can't play together.
100%.
They just can't do it. And D'Angelo's been terrible. He doesn't even know if he's supposed to be in the game or not. He's standing at the scorer's table. But I'm just looking at the overall lineup. The spacing's terrible because Gobert can't shoot. D'Angelo's a non-factor when the ball's not in his hands, and there's only one basketball. That's the main reason why I hated their win total. I just thought that they would struggle. And Edwards can't even get to the rim anymore. He has, 1 dunk on the season? He can't get to the rim. And you're looking at what the Timberwolves want to do offensively. I don't know what they want to do offensively. Do you know what they want to do offensively? Because Cat's been pretty underwhelming this season too. There's no cohesion to this team. They don't do anything well, and even defensively, they have not been great this season. So I think Minnesota is really just an overvalued team because they're not good as a team. And I thought it would take a while for them to actually gel. They might miss the playoffs. And I know it's really premature. It's very early. I know that. And maybe they'll piece it together. I really don't see under what circumstance can the starting lineup actually work. What do they do well in? And they mortgaged half their bench to make the trade in the first place. What are they good at besides rebounding with Gobert? I'll ask you guys that. What are they good at? Because I haven't seen anything that they actually are elite at besides rim protection with Gobert. That's it.
Delonte, I'll let you use that to transition into your take.
Man, listen, your take was so emphatic. I don't even want to tell you I like Minnesota, but I do.
You can. Yeah, it's fine.
I like Minnesota here. But I mean, it's not something that I like love. Like I wouldn't, put like 4 or 5 units on it. But I kind of like what I don't like anything that they have been doing lately. But I can kind of see where they could be as they progress, because it's going to take a while for Cat and Rudy to get adjusted to each other and to the. I love their coach. And the head of the snake is Anthony Edwards. Everybody knows that. Lately, he hasn't been playing well. He's under 20 points in the last 3 games. So I think Memphis is kind of. I think last year, they were kind of like the team that played hard, and when everybody else in the regular season didn't play as hard, so some of the metrics might be kind of skewed a little bit.
They're also missing Jackson, so the rim protection hasn't been as good this year.
That as well. Like that. And like I was lower on them coming into the season. I bet them under their win total. Right now they are 4-7-1 against the spread, 3-6-1 as a favorite. I think that he might struggle tonight against that Twin Tower. I guess that's kind of
he wasn't good in the playoff series against one of them, so now he's got Gobert in there.
You going right into my next point. So in 8 career meetings with Minnesota, Morant's averaging 22.4 points per game, and that's like including scoring over 20 points. Him failing to score over 20 points in the last 3 matchups. So
I got to assume the field goal percentage is terrible in those games.
Yeah, it is, which is why my favorite bit probably of the day, like one of my top 5 bits, is Ja under 30.5 points, because he does most of his damage at the rim. A few things that Minnesota does well is they defend the rim. Rudy and to a lesser extent Cat, but they're going to clog up the paint. It's not going to be a lot of Ja floaters. He's going to be affected by that, and it's going to make him a jump shooter. Now he is shooting 45% from 3, but small sample size. He's not going to shoot 45% from 3. He's going to try to do most of his damage in the paint, and with Rudy and Cat there, I think he's going to go under that. So I kind of like Minnesota in this matchup. I think Anthony Edwards has a big game. I think Cat somewhat shows up, dominates the matchup, because he's gonna have Dillon Brooks, or maybe Adams is gonna likely be on Gobert, so they'll cancel each other out. So I think Cat, he has a big game as well.
Aldama ? Is that the matchup? He's technically the power forward.
Yeah, maybe
Brandon Clark maybe a little bit.
Yeah, so if Cat can stay out of foul trouble, which we know he has a very, very big problem in doing so, I think he has a big game. But I look for Anthony Edwards to have a big game also. So I'd lean to Minnesota right now.
I like Bane for his props. I think he's going to play very well.
Likewise, I got over his threes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's easy for me. I'm taking Minnesota. I'm not Minnesota, but Memphis. I'm taking Memphis -4. Like it's pretty easy for me. I'm taking Memphis. So and it's really just more of, I'm not afraid of Rudy Gobert in the paint. I don't. Ja, in the last 2 games he's played against Rudy Gobert, has 32 and 35 points respectively. So I'm not really afraid of Rudy Gobert in the paint. I just believe in the talent of Ja Morant and the talent of the player. I think that this is either Rudy gets into foul trouble trying to guard him, or Ja just goes and gets his. Like Rudy can be passive at times, trying to make sure he doesn't get into foul trouble, and Ja is the perfect point guard that can exploit that. So I really don't have any issues. I still think that this Memphis team can score the basketball. And going back over to Scott's point, this starting lineup for the Timberwolves has not figured it out. They're not close to figuring it out. They're too busy arguing with each other. This is the team that 100% needs a players only meeting, and I don't think anybody in the locker room is willing to call it. So, I mean, I just think that they're going to suck. Like, they're not going to be good. And I don't know. This isn't the spot where I'm questioning Memphis as a favorite. They have let me down as a favorite multiple times, but gut handicapping, I'm gonna just stick with it. Memphis is the better team, by far the better team. I think they go out here, show out. Josh still has a pretty good game. Give me Memphis -4.
I do want to ask, I'm going to lean to Memphis too, but there is one prop I'm looking at, and I'm not sure how to feel about it because I think you kind of have to toss last year's playoff series in the garbage because of roster makeup. It's Steven Adams, because I'm looking at his rebound prop, and it's around 10.5. And last year, as we remember, we slammed his under in points in every game because he couldn't play against this team. Now Gobert's in the lineup with Towns. I think they have to use Adams. Like, I don't think they have a choice. I think he has to play a bunch of minutes. So on one hand, he'll be switching to every pick and roll, which isn't going to be fun, but you have to stop Gobert somehow. He's had exactly 19 rebounds in 2 of the last 3 games. He played 37 minutes against San Antonio. Am I wrong for thinking about a ladder on his rebounds? Capella I loved yesterday again for the matchup alone against Embiid. He had 20. If you laddered that, I think him 16 plus rebounds was plus 880. You made a fortune if you laddered his rebounds. But for Adams today, do you think he's going to play a bunch of minutes, or do you think he's going to have to be benched because of what happened last year? I'm leaning towards him playing a bunch of minutes because Gobert in the lineup with Towns means that I kind of have to toss his overall matchup issues against Minnesota in the garbage from last year, don't I?
Yeah, I think that it's a good play, but the only thing that could go against is if Gobert doesn't play a bunch of minutes. Like, if they force Gobert off the court, then of course they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, Gobert's not out there."
I think he has to play. They're paying him $40 million. Like, I think
we'll see. But we'll see. That's how, like I said, I think there's an angle of this where John Morant and Dylan Brooks can drive aggressively into the paint and force Rudy Gobert out of this game. And so I'm gonna be I think that they're not gonna be afraid. They're gonna attack them in the paint, but that is a really good play just because of sheer volume, like minutes on the court. He should easily hit that prop.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think that they have little to no size other than him.
Do I ladder it all the way to 16? Like, that's the real question. Adam's 16 rebounds is plus 550. I mean, he had 19 in 2 of the last 3. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think he lost the value.
Yeah,
you lost the value because he had 19.
Yeah. 14 is plus 270. That's okay. 12 I see is plus 130. I think that's a decent price. But 10.5 at -111. At that point, I think I'd rather just take 12 at plus 130.
Yeah, I mean, because like Terrell said,
one more rebound.
If he's like in foul trouble, if Rudy's in foul trouble, I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's going to have his minutes staggered to play whenever Rudy is playing. So if anything happens to Rudy, then he's probably unplayable with what Anthony Edwards can do off the dribble, and to a lesser extent, D'Angelo Russell. I mean,
it's the same handicap as the Capella game yesterday. As long as Embiid or as long as Gobert's in the game, you have only one counter, so he has to play a bunch of minutes. That's kind of my logic.
I agree.
All right, next game on the slate, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers still on the road playing the Golden State Warriors. Warriors laying 2.5 here. 232 is the total injury report for this one. And I have Dante DiVincenzo, who is probable for this game, and Dylan Windler, who is still out. All right, Delonte, you're getting 2.5 with the Cavs in Golden State. What are you doing?
First quarter, Golden State. I love it. -1. I think is it still at I don't know if it's still at -1. I was
probably
around there. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was doing my notes, 1 was like the consensus. Like, I don't trust Golden State to defend anybody, and what Cleveland has been doing to teams offensively, like, I'm not sure that they'll be able to defend what they have. They're going to get beat up on the glass. Allen and Mobley are going to kill them on the glass because the young guys just aren't ready to play yet. They're just not ready to contribute and play Golden State basketball right now. It's going to take them some time, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knew that. But I think Golden State coming off 4 days of rest. This is, I think, the end of the road trip for Cleveland. So they'll be looking to get back home. This is their 5th game of the road trip. 2-2 so far. Travel hasn't been as, rigorous because they've been in the state of California. I think they played Lakers, Clippers, and they finished off Sacramento. So I like Golden State to come out, their hair on fire. I think Steph's going to have a big a big night. They usually play up to the level of the competition. It's a big game. Cleveland's kind of this, new up and coming, I guess you could say, team in the East with the move to Mitchell. And one thing that brought me on to the first quarter was how Steve Kerr is doing his minutes, is doing Steph's minutes. So Steph usually plays, the first like 10-ish minutes of the game before he gets a little break. So with Steph Curry on the floor, they have an offensive rating of 121.4. Without him on the floor, it's under 100. And their net rating without him on the floor is negative 20.1. So they are literally lost. It's similar to the Shea Gill handicap. Just like completely lost without Steph on the floor. So I think we should capitalize on Steph being on the floor and take Golden State first quarter, lean full game over. I wouldn't bet it right now. But first quarter Golden State is gonna be on my card for sure.
All right, Scott, over to you.
For this one, I'm going to take the over. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here. Golden State can't stop anybody. Cleveland defensively, despite having good rim protection, has also been a bit underwhelming defensively lately. The Clippers torched them. The Kings torched them. I think that both teams should have a lot of good opportunities from three. I'm just expecting Mitchell to take this matchup personally, and I'm just expecting him and Curry to each have like 30, 35. I just think that you're going to see a massive performance from both these guys. Mitchell's been so damn good this season, and I feel like people acknowledge it, but they don't fully acknowledge it. He's been incredible. There's been no transition whatsoever or no transition issues for him. Maybe for Garland dealing with him because I know he struggled a bit lately, but I expect Mitchell to play well. I agree about your points on the rebounds. I think Allen probably walks into 15 and 15 in this game. I think he should have a big game here, but I'm on the over. Donovan Mitchell over. Donovan Mitchell threes. I just think he's going to have a big game here where he just goes off and takes it personally. Yeah, I also see Sharp in the comment section.
Yeah, that's what I was laughing at.
Talking about how Golden State's going to come out with their hair on fire like Pepsi did Michael. Yeah, throwback before my time. I got bad news for you, Shark. I don't know if you actually realize this. This is not the NHL show. This is the NBA show. So I don't know if you meant.
I was about to say he's definitely on the wrong feed here. He's never in this feed. So
just saying, NHL. This isn't the NHL show. So I'm kind of surprised to see you, but nice to see you. But I'm on the over. I think for the actual side, I really have no thoughts because I keep waiting for Golden State to do something, and they just keep not doing anything because defensively they're that bad. So I'm looking at the over. But I do think Mitchell has himself a very big game, and Curry might do the same.
Real quick, Scott, what can you get for Jarrett Allen over 15 rebounds, like 15 plus?
Okay, so 15 for a book doesn't exist. They go in two, so it goes 14 and 16.
Yeah,
I'll give you both.
Yeah.
So 14, Jarrett Allen's 2-1. 16 is for 430, which is meh, but still.
Yeah, it's kind of sucked the value up because he's minus 150 for 10.5 rebounds. I mean, that's too much juice to lay. But I think he like dominates the glass. Like I don't think
in 3 games versus the Warriors on the Cavs, Jarrett Allen has 29 minutes, 13 and 14, 35 minutes, 17 and 14, and then 30 minutes, 12 and 7.
Double, by the way, is minus 180. So they're just expecting him to walk into about 11, 12.
Yeah,
the question is going to get to 14.
Yeah,
I don't know. They play him kind of tough and be really physical with him under the rim. I have quarrels about taking his rebounds. I understand it, but I also, it's not one of my more.
Well, you mentioned the first quarter play. I just like the first quarter over. Golden State's starting lineup's been amazing offensively. Defensively, they've been a train wreck. And the Cavs, I just think both teams will come out just guns blazing, bunch of quick possessions. We've seen Golden State's games be very high scoring, and then occasionally the pace slows down a bit in the fourth quarter. I've also mentioned this in previous podcasts. I'm not exactly a fan of the Cavaliers' offensive execution in fourth quarter situations. So I expect a very up-tempo game early on, a feeling out process, and I think you'll see maybe even 65 or 70 in the first quarter, but I like the first quarter over in this matchup.
I kind of like that too.
All right, let's see here. What was I looking for? Last 5 games, Cavs are 4-1 to the first quarter over, and the Warriors are 3-2. But a lot of that is that road trip.
Yeah, Golden State hasn't covered since October 27th against Miami, of course, because everybody covers against Miami.
3-2 at home this season to that number in the
And
first
one was
quarter.
against the Lakers. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I didn't even count that.
Yeah.
All right, so me here, I'm going to back Golden State just because I feel like they're due, and this has been a really rough road trip for the Cavs. I think that the Cavs are just kind of licking their chops, ready to get back to the crib. I think this is going to be a pretty entertaining game. Like, I'm on the Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell has a very nice game. I have Jordan Poole on my radar here playing against that second unit, and
he's got to start shooting better at some point, man.
Yeah. So I think this is with the rest, this is a good bounce back game for Jordan Poole as well against that second unit, and being able to get to the rim when he wants for the most part, and avoiding a lot of the better defenders that are on this Cavs team that are all kind of in that starting lineup. So I think Jordan Poole could have a very nice game here. But yeah, over all of that, echo all the thoughts you all have. Let's get to the last game and hurry up and wrap up and get out of here. We have the Sacramento Kings going to play the Los Angeles Lakers, -4 for the Kings. 232 is the total injury report that I'm seeing for this one. And I have LeBron, who is projected out. Lonnie Walker is questionable. And Anthony Davis is probable.
I don't think it's projected, by the way. LeBron is officially out.
Yeah, so I mean, anybody want to come here and make a case for the Lakers?
That was going to be the question I had for you, because I feel like this line is. I was going to say, at what point do you acknowledge that a line's extremely trappy, and at what point do you acknowledge that a line's extremely stupid? Because the Lakers have been overvalued all season long. They're 2-9 ATS, and that's with LeBron and AD.
Mm-hmm.
This team's awful, like really, really bad. And the Kings on the road are not great, but still, they had a very nice win against the Cavs last time out at home. After that really painful loss to Golden State, where Herter clearly got fouled in that three-pointer. They didn't call it. But the Kings have been getting better as the season has progressed. The Lakers are really just a bad team. They're just really, really bad. And you could argue with LeBron out, maybe the team steps up. Judging LeBron's entire career, if LeBron's not playing, bet the other team. Because I believe his team's record when he doesn't play is ridiculously bad, no matter what team he's been on. I'm on Sacramento. If it's a trap, then the words of Terrell, I'm dead. But I can't take the Lakers here. I just can't do it. This team is such a train wreck. They're bad at everything. The only concern is Sacramento's awful at three-point defense, so maybe the Lakers can have a decent three-point shooting game. I'll believe it when I see it. Maybe Westbrook plays well, but I don't really care. The Kings are a decent team. The Lakers are awful, and they'd be tanking if they actually had their draft pick. Shout out to New Orleans. But I am going to go with the Kings here. I just think they're the much better team.
All right. Monte, what are you doing?
The Lakers, I'm full disclosure, I'm a Lakers fan, sadly. I know it's not a lot of
I'm
us.
sorry.
I mean, everybody here hates their team.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Everybody on this panel right now.
You've had to watch this team, so I'm sure you hate them more than we do. But
man, so like I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about the Lakers. I mean, when I first seen this line, I was like, Sacramento 3.5.
It's very trappy. It's
like,
very, very trappy.
On the road, I mean, on the road, Sacramento is 4-1 against the spread on the road. I mean, for whatever that's worth. But the Lakers 2-4 at home, ATS. I was thinking like maybe without LeBron, like something's got to happen with these guys. I mean, I don't know. I'm done making excuses for them. I just can't lay points with Sacramento on the road. I mean, I don't want to lay points for Sacramento anyway. But like, I would just completely stay away from this game. If you have to bet it, I mean, I would just take the Lakers as a small home dog. Just don't even bet the spread. Just bet the money line, because it's either they're gonna win the game outright or they're gonna lose by 30. It's no in between.
The main argument for the Lakers in this matchup is AD, and he should do whatever he wants on the interior. Right. The problem is the only person who can really stop AD is himself, either for injuries or just the lack of aggressiveness for X amount of minutes at a time. It feels like he should be dominating all the time, and he doesn't. And it's really frustrating. I'm sure it's even more frustrating for Lakers fans. This is a matchup where he really should walk into about 30-15. Right. But I'm just expecting him to go for 20-12. And you're going to be looking at, like, where's AD? Like, why is he on the perimeter again? Like just
And-
get in the paint,
Where's
dominate.
AD?
Sabonis can't guard anybody.
Where's Waldo?
I've never heard of anybody who is so effective at doing something but doesn't want to do it. Like he's so good at playing the 5. Like the numbers for him at the center position are like completely different from whenever he plays the 4, I guess, quote unquote 4, when he wants to play like a stretch power forward role. Like, and he just refuses to do it. Like he doesn't want to do it. I've never heard of anybody not wanting to have success and doing something that you're
It's
good
the
at.
same criticism that people have for Towns, except Towns can actually shoot above like 35% from 3. He's a drifter. He's a guy who you want to be in the paint, and he's never in the paint. And I feel like that's going to really hurt the Lakers long term because this is a type of game he really needs to be aggressive and get to the line at least 15 times in this game. Like he can. It's there for him to go for 35 and like 12. I just don't trust him to do it because mentally he's afraid to do so. And I think that's going to be a serious problem in this matchup.
Yeah, a couple of props. Like I wouldn't touch the side or the total, but a couple of props I was looking at was Sabonis double. Is that juice? How juiced is that? You know?
Oh, it's probably like 250 minus.
Oh, okay.
Bonus doubles minus 310.
Oh,
so.
hell, well, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. But his points is 17.5. Definitely, I don't see anybody on the Lakers being able to stop him. Like he's gonna do whatever he wants. He has had a double in 7 of the last 10. His points, rebounds, and assists, is that pretty high? What is that, like close to 40? I'm assuming.
Let me pull that up.
Because I was looking at that also. Whenever I was getting the numbers were like popping up, but just sparingly.
You said points, rebound, assist for him is 36.5.
Yeah, I would look at that over. Because he can easily have 20 and 15, and that's just points and rebounds. He could that could come easy. Also, take a look at a Malik Monk revenge game.
Yeah. I mean, I have no quarrels with that. Lakers are giving up 9th most points to the center position, 3rd most rebounds. I have no issue with that. I mean, I don't like Sacramento. I think Sacramento sucks. I will be completely honest in saying this. I don't think Sacramento is good at all. But this Lakers team is really, really bad. I really probably should be taking plus the 4 because it's 2 bad teams, and I normally just take the points with 2 bad teams. But I can't in good faith take this Lakers team right now. If I play anything in this game, I'm playing the Kings in the first half. Kings are 6-4 over their last 10 games. Well, 10 games that they played in the first half, whereas the Lakers are 1-9, 1-10, something like that.
I do want to ask though,
1-8.
Since LeBron is out, there was one prop I was looking at, but I do kind of want to ask in general. Are we just assuming Westbrook starts?
Yeah, he has to. I mean,
did he start the last time LeBron was out?
I'm trying to remember, but
I'm about to go back and look.
I got to assume he's starting in this game, right?
Yeah, he has to. But the last time LeBron was out, I don't think Troy Brown was available. I think Troy Brown is gonna, especially if Lonnie Walker doesn't play, Troy Brown has to score 15, 16 points.
Westbrook still came off the bench when LeBron was out. When LeBron was out, they started Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves, Troy Brown Jr., Wendell Gabriel, and Anthony Davis. How do you back this team? How do you back this team?
I was looking for Westbrook.
How can you root for this team?
I was looking for Westbrook triple-double. I found 6-1, but I really wanted him to play 30-something plus minutes, and he still might off the bench, but
yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of opportunities because he should have the ball in his hands every single possession because who else is supposed to dribble for this team? But would you consider taking 6-1 for triple-double if Westbrook doesn't start?
I would. I mean, he's gonna have the ball in his hands. We all know he's gonna be aggressive, whether that's good or bad. He's
rebounding, should have some opportunities there.
Yeah,
but even the game that LeBron was out, how many minutes did Westbrook play in that game? You said 24. He didn't start. He played 24.
And I mean, they got blew out by the Jazz. So
okay.
Yeah. What was the score in that game?
139, 116.
Oh, okay.
That was a back-to-back as well. So
yeah.
That's about right.
Okay. I don't. It was worth. I thought about it at 6-1, but I really want him to be in the starting lineup. I'll probably wait if he's in the starting lineup. I'll probably take it.
Yeah, I will just tell you to just take the Kings. And prop wise, you could probably get some pretty good things going. Kings give up a lot from beyond the 3. Lakers can't hit anything from 3. So if you hit on anybody's 3-point prop, you're probably getting a very, very nice price on it. If I had to pick somebody,
go for a Reeves alternative and hope he hits 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's where I was really sitting there. I don't see Reeves on this site I'm looking on right now.
I got to get my guy Matt Ryan up there.
I would play Matt Reeves. I'm not Matt Reeves, but I would play Austin Reeves if I had to play anybody. But they're just so bad. Like, you don't have to bet this game. Like, you don't have to bet this game. I'm telling you right now.
Please don't.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up in this quickly. We have lock and dog time for, let's see. For my lock, I'm going with, man, every time I lock up Memphis, it just doesn't go my way. I feel like this is the game to lock them up, though. Minnesota's really bad.
I would, man. I'm gonna be I'm on Minnesota, so you'll win.
I'm going 2 dogs. I'm just trying to decide. I'm weak. Said I win. I'm trying to decide how I want to play him.
Can't believe you're not taking the Knicks. Shocked.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is a really big shocker here. Let's go with OKC +5. I'll take OKC +5 in this one. That's my lock. For my dog, yeah. I mean, nah. They lost 5 straight. I'm not gonna do it. They lost 5 straight. Give me the Nuggets +5.5, +4.5. That's my lock. And then give me OKC +170 as my dog against the Toronto Raptors. Scott, over to you.
All right, so for my lock, I am going to go to a player prop in that Timberwolves-Grizzlies game. I'm going to take Steven Adams. I'm going to take him over in the rebounds at 10.5. I'm trying to see what the best line I could find. I believe it was -110, -115. I know he was awful against the Timberwolves in the playoffs last year. It's a different team. Doesn't mean anything to me. The fact is, as long as Gobert and Towns are on the court together, Memphis has to try something in order to not get killed on the glass. And Towns, I see -111. I'll take it. He had 19 last game. We know Adams, despite not being a great offensive player, is still just an absolute brick wall. He's the strongest player in the league. And I do think that he can hold the zone against Gobert especially, and even Towns if Towns in the paint. But you're looking at Adams and his rebounding numbers lately, and he's been very, very good. He's had at least 10 rebounds in each of the last 4 games, in 7 of the last 8 games. And he had a major uptick in minutes, playing 37 against San Antonio last game out. I think he's going to play a bunch of minutes in this game, and I think the rebounding number should be easy. I'm going to take the over 10.5, and I'm assuming he'll probably end up somewhere around 14, if I had to guess.
All right.
Yeah, for my lock, we mentioned it just a few minutes ago. Golden State -1 first quarter. Read off all the numbers with Steph Curry and what the offense is when he's on the floor. The Golden State Warriors have 2 top 10 as far net rating lineups. It's their starting lineup. I think they're number 3. And then they have a lineup where, of course, they play the small ball with Draymond at the 5 and Poole, Clay, and Steph at the 3-guard lineup. That lineup is, I think, number 8. So with Steph playing those minutes early, I think that Cleveland is a little bit sleepy, ready to get back home. Look for them to take advantage of that and win that first quarter by maybe about 4 or 5 points. As far as my dog, I'm going with Minnesota. I just don't think that I don't know if they can get any worse. I really don't. They got to start getting. They got.
Oh, I can't wait to clip this one. I can't wait to clip that one.
Hey man, they gotta come around and play with some cohesion at some point.
Yeah.
I think that like while Ja still might get 25, 26. Let's just hope he stays up. Hell, he can even get 30. I bet him 30. I bet him 30.5 under. So if they can keep him off the free throw line, keep him, pushed up into a jump shooter, and if Ant-Man can actually play like the player that everybody has projected him to be after that playoff run, I think that Minnesota has a good chance to win the game outright. So give me Minnesota. Terrell, if this doesn't hit, just don't invite me on the show again. But if it does hit, clip it.
Definitely. We gonna pull it. We gonna pull it for you if it hits because this Minnesota team's just looking real rocky right now.
Yeah, they are. I would definitely agree with that. But I think matchup wise, I think it's a good matchup for.
I like it. You made some good points. All right. Everyone, if you're not already, make sure you follow all of these gentlemen. Make sure that you are subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast on YouTube and subscribe to them wherever you get your podcasts.
Well,
Like,
I
comment,
I was
leave a
actually going to
review.
say, sorry, I actually
What's
didn't
up?
give out my dog.
Oh, what's your dog?
I'm going to go big for this one. Give me the Trey Jones double-double. I see plus 520. I'm going to take it. I
He's
think
got
that's
one
a great
last game.
price. He's had at least 9 assists in each of the last 2 games. Now, the issue is Milwaukee defensively is, I believe, allowing the second fewest assists per game. But I don't know how much that matters when they're missing arguably their 2 best defensive players. So I am kind of
not
tossing the
arguably.
stats out the window. It is their best 2 defensive players. So give me Trey Jones double-double. Plus 520 is a nice price, but that's going to be my dog.
I might join
All right.
on that.
Love it. Everyone else, I mean, we've gone. We're hour 25 minutes in. Gonna give you your time back. Go out there, make some money, win something plays. Probably drop some type of parlay or something cool in Discord. We'll see. It's sg.pn/Discord if you're not into that. Other than that, Shark, I'll see you over there in the NHL show. Everyone else, I have no idea how I'm ending the podcast. We're just gonna end it like this. We are out of here.